Japan's Mafia is reportedly cashing in on the Fukushima disaster by running the cleanup efforts at the damaged nuclear plant. The workers complain of being understaffed and mistreated by contractors who think nothing of throwing them into the areas of high risk and high radiation. RT's Aleksey Yaroshevsky has this report from Japan.
As if clearing up the dangerous debris in the aftermath of Japan's worst natural disaster in a century was not tough enough, this former Fukushima worker says he's having to sue the firm which hired him.
I was out of work after the tsunami, so when a job offer at Fukushima came up, I took it. They promised a lot of money, even signed a long-term contract, but they suddenly terminated it, not even paying me a third of the promised sum.
Do you have a feeling that you were mistreated?
Absolutely. We were given no insurance for health risks, no radiation meters even. We were treated like nothing, like disposable people, promise things and then kick us out when we receive a large radiation dose.
This young man volunteered to jump into nuclear hell to make a living. Many others, though, were forced. So claims investigative journalist Tomohiko Suzuki, who went undercover to Fukushima, filming with a camera hidden in his watch. He discovered that many of the workers were brought in by the infamous underworld syndicate, the Yakuza.
So this is Yakuza, right? Yes. At Fukushima.
In Japan, quite often when a certain construction project requires an immediate workforce, in large numbers, bosses make a phone call to the Yakuza. So was the case with Fukushima. The government called TEPCO to take urgent action. TEPCO relayed it to subcontractors, and they, eventually, as they had a shortage of available workers, called the Yakuza for help.
But Fukushima is no ordinary construction site. The workers drawn to the power plant by the Yakuza, mostly with gambling debts to the organization or family obligations, often had absolutely no idea what they were dealing with.
They were given very general info about radiation, and most were not even given radiation meters. They could have exposed themselves to large doses without even knowing it. Even the so-called Fukushima 50, the first group of workers sent there immediately after the disaster. At least 3 of them were enrolled by the Yakuza.
Suzuki published details of what he says is solid evidence, but TEPCO officials remain defiant that any mistreatment or organized crime involvement is taking place.
We're doing everything to ensure our workers operate in safe conditions. We also deal harshly with law-violating subcontractors.
But the company and its subcontractors already short of hands. There are 25% more openings for jobs at Fukushima plant than applicants, according to government data. Gaps filled, says Suzuki, by the homeless, the desperately unemployed, and even those with mental disabilities.
There are no exact figures as to how many people are involved in the Fukushima clear-up operation, but rough estimates suggest that this may be up to 250,000 people, and with experts saying that it may take another 40 years to completely liquidate the aftermath of the disaster. It's really hard to imagine how many more workers will be involved in this dangerous line of duty.
And, more importantly, how many of them will feel disposable and expendable once their jobs end. Aleksey Yaroshevsky, RT, reporting from Japan.